Hey everyone, here's what's coming up tonight on News Center Now. It's the start of the American Folk Festival in Bangor. We have live coverage beginning tonight at 5.
This is the 18th year of the American Folk Festival on the Bangor waterfront. We'll tell you why organizers think it's such a success.
And why organizers and vendors have been working round the clock to get everything set up. This is News Center
Now.
Good Friday evening, everyone, and thanks for joining us. I'm Lindsay Mills. It's the last weekend of August, and here in Maine, that means it's time for the American Folk Festival. We have team coverage tonight in Bangor. Keith Carson, Sean Stackhouse, and Jackie Mundry are all there. Volunteers have been working around the clock to get everything ready to go. But they aren't the only ones. We'll start tonight with Jackie, who's at the Bangor waterfront with all those details. Hey, Jackie.
Hey Lindsay, it's finally here. The 18th annual American Folk Festival is about to kick off in less than an hour here on Bangor's waterfront. Like you said, officials and volunteers have been working around the clock, but so have the musicians, vendors, and food vendors. We'll start with some of the craft vendors tonight.
We do this almost every weekend.
We do probably about 30 shows a year.
Two men who spend their time traveling around the Northeast selling their products. John Dumond is the owner of Forever Boards, making cutting boards and serving platters out of recycled materials.
This is one example of a carving tray that would have otherwise went to landfill.
Dumond says he grew up on a farm in Aroostook County and learned at a young age to use as much of the family's materials as he could.
So this is the last half inch by 5 1/4 inch of otherwise waste material.
Down on the waterfront, Ryan Lonigan is setting up to sell his work. He creates artwork for the home out of copper.
Sometimes it's kind of like building a hot rod. I pick my parts and pieces and I put scenes together.
Lonigan started this work when he needed a break from reality.
I needed something to keep me sane from corporate America.
Dumond and Lonigan are set up with many other craft and food vendors on Bangor's waterfront, all selling to the sounds of great folk music. There's a lot of work and setup that goes into the American Folk Festival, but the reason it works year after year,
the community makes this festival happen.
And that community is already down here on Bangor's waterfront this evening. People are having ice cream and walking around, getting excited for all of that music to get started tonight. But we're going to send it over to News Center Maine's Sean Stackhouse right now, and he has more on this festival's success. Hi, Sean.
Hey, Jackie. Tens of thousands of people for 18 years have spent this last weekend in August on the Bangor waterfront for the American Folk Festival. And we had the chance to speak with some of the organizers and say it's not just those sweet melodies that have been such a reason for the festival's success.
It's as many as 30,000 people there each day, and it's fun to be in that kind of atmosphere.
In just 1 hour, the atmosphere will change here at the Bangor waterfront because at 6 p.m. it's officially festival weekend.
People book their vacations around it. I book my vacation around it. It's just become part of the landscape here in Bangor.
An end-of-August staple for 18 years. Organizers say its success is not just because of the great musical acts, but everything you see and some you don't.
We have volunteers who step up and do so many different tasks for us, and we have tens of thousands of festival goers who join us.
There's all of the crafts and all of the wonderful food and all of the food that's not quite so good for you.
And when you add the food, crafts, music, and volunteers together,
it's a huge amount of energy. And it really creates kind of that rolling feeling of this has been a great year this year, and next year is going to be just as awesome.
Now, before they start planning everything for next year's American Folk Festival, they have an entire week full of excitement going on. And in just a few minutes, I'll get to introduce you to a family that has traveled all the way from Ottawa, Canada, to show us some of their music. But first, let's send it over to Keith with the weather. Hi, Keith.
Hey Sean, your face is looking as friendly as ever. It's just, I feel like every time it gets more and more friendly. It was nice today, right? Temperatures though down, dew points down as well. Now their highs were in the upper 70s, but I'll tell you what, that was for a pretty brief period of time, and now they've come back down into the mid 70s. Bangor officially is 75, but Steve and I, doesn't quite feel like 75. No, we got a little wind here, so it's a coolish 75 if that's a thing in science, with the low humidity and a little bit of a breeze right along the water here. Dew points in the 40s and 50s, and that's really the key to the difference in how today felt versus the past couple of days as the dew points started slamming down, and that's where we're going to be at all the way through the weekend. Dew points 40s, 50s, never higher, than 58, 59, so it's really, really comfortable. Overnight tonight, temperatures drop into the 50s. That's air temperature, not dew point. And then tomorrow is a mostly sunny day. We probably get to 72, 73, maybe 74 degrees along the coastal plain, but as you get into the mountains, probably a lot of the day will be spent in the 60s. Overnight on Saturday, it's clear, and we start on Sunday pretty cool. A lot of us in the 40s on Sunday morning, and then as we head into the afternoon, only upper 60s. Most of us do not get to 70 degrees. So we'll have to talk in a few minutes about how long this cool weather will last. Lindsay, I did such a bad job of anchoring, apparently, that they sent me 2 hours north just to get me away from the desk.
That's all right, Keith. I would have been right there with you if we weren't so close to baby time. Well, after more than 2 decades of business, a popular Portland bar is closing. Brian Brew will close Monday. The owner has not immediately provided a reason why for the closure. The announcement comes amid several other closures across Portland, including Lolita's and Silly's. Brazil's president says he'll likely send the army to help fight Amazon fires that have alarmed people across the globe. This amid mounting international pressure to contain those fires. The French government has now accused Brazil's leader of lying about his environmental commitments. We're learning of the first reported death from that vaping-related lung illness. Illinois health officials say a person who recently vaped died after being hospitalized. The agency didn't give any other information about the patient, including a name or where they lived in Illinois. New developments today in the trade war with China. China announcing a new round of tariffs on U.S. products in retaliation to the Trump administration's latest plan for tariff hikes. President Donald Trump is urging U.S. companies to stop doing business with China. The American Folk Festival is about more than the music and food. It's a place where you can find Maine-made treasures. And there are some new craft vendors this year. We'll meet them a little later. Our live coverage continues from the first night of the American Folk Festival when we come back. Perhaps the only thing better than the food, the music, and the dancing at the American Folk Festival are the people you meet there. They're wonderful. People from all over the world are gathering in Bangor as we speak, getting ready to show off their talents with everyone who goes to visit. That includes 3 new craft vendors this year. They're actually all from Maine, and they've all found a way to make money out of the things. Oh no, we're actually going to tune in now to Sean Stackhouse first, I believe, right, Isaac? Okay, yeah, we're sending things over to Sean first. Sean, how's it going up there? You're talking with some of the artists right now.
Yes, hey Lindsay, it's going great here. We're just about 45 minutes away from the kickoff of this American Folk Festival, the 18th year, and I'm joined by Julie of the Fitzgeralds. She's going to be one of the performers here today, and what's really interesting about the group, the Fitzgeralds, is they're all siblings. So how long have you all been playing for?
Well, we didn't really have much of a choice. I guess we've been playing since we were quite young, 5 or 6 years old together, and we originally toured as the full family band, but now we're just touring as the 4 of us, yeah.
And that must be such a fun experience, getting to go around the country and around the world, getting to be with your siblings. I have 2 older siblings, and if we had the ability to do what you do, we would do it too.
Yeah, it's been great. Yeah, the places you get to see, it's pretty incredible, and we really enjoy, coming to places like Bangor.
Yeah, and what has you excited about playing to the audience at this American Folk Festival?
Well, it's our first time at the Folk Festival. We've heard a lot about it, and we're pretty excited to finally experience it.
Awesome. Well, we're ready for a little head start. So, Julie, take it away with the rest of the Fitzgeralds. so much. That was just really incredibly impressive, and I can't wait to see all that you're going to have in store throughout the rest of the weekend. But we're going to hear from you a little bit later. Lindsay, I'll send things back to you in Portland.
All right, sounds awesome, Sean. Thank you so much. Still ahead on News Center now, we're going to check in live with Keith from the Bangor waterfront. He has his American Folk Festival weekend forecast straight ahead. Making a business out of making the things you love. The three women you're about to meet do just that, and they have been working for months to get ready for this year's American Folk Festival.
My nephew calls it steak in a bottle. For the most part, I'm very particular.
I got started sort of by accident.
Three entrepreneurs, all at very different stages in their lives, ready to set up shop between the stages at the American Folk Festival.
My biggest thing was after not working for 25 years, it's like, who's going to hire me? What can I do?
Julia McCracken could be considered an empty nester, but the kitchen at her Topsom home is far from empty. She makes jam, and lots of it. With more than 30 different varieties, her inventory has spilled over into the dining room. It takes her an hour for each batch. You do the math. She says all that time, though, is worth it.
It's great for my self-esteem. You know, it is all mine, and it's nice to know people appreciate it.
A business, she says, started by accident after her sister said,
"You should sell it."
And the rest, as they say, is history.
10 years making jam, right? But it's still fun. And as long as it's fun, I'll keep doing it.
It's always going to be scary to take that leap.
Merrick Ozier is a young mom who took a leap of faith when she started her own Biddeford-based business.
When your bills keep coming in, you will hustle.
That hustle really started for Merrick out of frustration.
I had a lot of skin problems kind of in my early 20s, and I could not find anything at the store that worked.
But in order to really get started, she first had to swallow her pride.
I used to make soap with my mom growing up, and I thought it was the worst, most boring thing in the world. But it all came back around. I called my mom one day and had her come up and teach me again, and then the little side project I was just gonna do for myself turned into a full-blown business.
Making those soaps turned into a slippery slope in the best of ways.
I'll know as soon as I see a stone that I can use it and what it's gonna be.
She also has an entire jewelry line made from Maine stones. 2 different creations, both from her heart, and a little help from Mom.
Doesn't get better than that.
You can only cook chicken so many ways. You get kind of bored. It's like, oh yay, another chicken breast.
Wanting to spice up her weeknight dinners, Jessica Moore started making spices with her sister.
I decided to start Regina Spices, which is inspired by my maternal grandmother, who is Regina, to just do the blends that I've enjoyed doing and the fun stuff.
Fun stuff like spices made from smoked tea.
I like to sample it on potato chips, and so when you taste it, it'll taste sort of like a barbecue chip that doesn't have any heat to it.
You won't find any basic table salt in her kitchen unless it's mixed with fresh herbs.
Something like this would be great on fresh tomatoes, great in salads.
She recommends using up extra basil by blending it with kosher salt.
You could even get maybe fancy with some cocktails if you wanted to do sort of an exotic rimmer. Yeah.
Her exotic spices are packed and ready to bring flavor to the American Folk Festival.
We'd like to have a good time.
And the weather seems to be cooperating for this American Folk Festival weekend. We're going to check in now with Keith Carson. And Keith, our Facebook Live conversation isn't quite the same without you here, but we do have Marie chiming in saying that she needs to step up her Stairmaster game after seeing your whiteboard.
Well, like I said, Lindsay, that you just buy them. They just put them in there. It's a outpatient surgery, very quick and easy to deal with. So that's the good news. I can tell by Lindsay's face, by the way, when she's going to make a joke before she makes it. All right, let's go past the almanac. That's like a 6 p.m. thing usually. But if you care, this is when the sun rises and sun sets. Temperatures today, 70s. for most of us, and it was a coolish day, right? We got down 75, 76 degrees and only into the low 70s in the mountains. But the biggest difference was the dew points were down consistently statewide, and so dropping down into the 50s and 40s, and that's something we're going to see all the way through the weekend, early next week as well. And when we talk about the idea of a fall feeling, that's one of the biggest parts of it. By the way, we dodged some rain to our south by a good amount today, but it was actually raining down across Massachusetts. Well, it was beautiful here. Hour by hour forecast showing us clear skies overnight tonight, clear skies during the day tomorrow as well. Temperatures only in the low, maybe mid 70s here and there. And then Sunday, we start off clear, we're partly cloudy through the afternoon, and it's even cooler. Temperatures only in the upper 60s, and those are your highs for the day. Roll around to Monday morning and we're still clear, still cool out there. In fact, it's going to be not chilly, substantially cool though on Monday morning. And this is what I'm thinking. Temperatures in the 40s pretty consistently. As you head into the mountains, we could see even an upper 30 break in on Monday morning. All right, the only thing to watch next week is really this storm system offshore, which is going to be a bit of a tropical hybrid, so don't let that scare you away. Even if it were to hit us, it would just be basically a rainstorm. But you might see a few headlines about this. I think it should stay out to sea and not impact Maine directly, so I've kind of based the forecast around the fact that it will largely miss us and bring us just a few showers through the middle of the week. All right, so the weekend looks good. Again, temperatures are on the cool side. Monday morning is the coolest morning in this run. And then we try to moderate for Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Again, the exact specifications of midweek are going to have to do with what that system does. So right now I've played it as a couple of showers that come in Wednesday night through Thursday. Obviously, if that system were to shift, we'd be looking at a rainier, windier part of midweek, but either way, I don't think it's a big deal. One thing that you will not see, Lindsay, in this forecast is any true big return to what you consider summer heat, meaning anything over 85 or so. So that's not in the cards for the next 7 to 10 days.
Well, I guess we'll have to rely, Keith, on the heat from those spices at the Bangor Folk Festival for now.
Yeah.
All right, Keith, thanks. Here's one way to address a labor shortage. Don't hire anyone. This is happening at a store chain in Japan. Between certain hours, customers can enter the store using a smartphone app or by having a picture of their face taken at the entrance. No employees will be inside. They can make purchases using self-checkout. This experiment is expected to last several months. Cue that beloved spaghetti and meatball scene from The Lady and the Tramp. Disney is continuing its trend of making classic cartoon movies into live action. Today, the poster of Lady and the Tramp was released. It comes out on Disney Plus on November 12th. Disney is also announcing several other things that will be available on the streaming service, including a holiday movie starring Bill Hader and Maine's own Anna Kendrick, a live-action Star Wars series, and a High School Musical series as well. How about this? A flaw with the new Apple Card. Turns out the card can be easily stained. Apple says fabrics like leather or denim can permanently discolor the card. The warning also says to avoid storing it near other cards, loose change, or keys. Doesn't seem very convenient. Lions and tigers and babies, oh my. Take a look at this. 4 newborns at a hospital in Pittsburgh were dressed like the Scarecrow, the Tin Man, and the Lion, and of course Dorothy. How sweet. All to mark the 80th anniversary of the release of The Wizard of Oz, which, by the way, is Sunday. How sweet is that? This is also really sweet too. The Animal Refuge League of Greater Portland Ales for Tales is back tomorrow. It's an afternoon to sample local brews beside your pup. Well-behaved leashed dogs are welcome and encouraged to attend at no additional cost. You'll be helping the 6,000 pets that depend on the Animal Refuge League of Greater Portland every year. The event is Saturday at 2 o'clock at Thompson's Point. Tickets are $35, and Pat Callahan and Jess Gagne will MC, and they will definitely be happy to see you there. And speaking of, Pat, is Fitzy getting ready for his big Ales for Tales debut?
He is indeed, and if only I could teach him to share a meatball with another dog and not just gobble it himself. He could be in a Disney movie, but I don't think that trick is going to be in his repertoire. Coming up at 5:30, the new director of Veterans Health Care for Maine wants to boost broadband service to expand long-distance care opportunities. We'll hear from her. 2 people escaped the crash of a small float plane at Rangeley Lake with minor injuries, but investigators face a daunting task in recovering the wreckage. We'll get the latest. And hundreds of kids who need new backpacks for going back to school will get them thanks to volunteers and the Portland Police Department. All that and more coming up on News Center at 5:30.
You know, maybe they're doing a casting call for Lady and the Tramp live action.
That could be great. We may have a lot. Maybe we'll be able to find our cast right here in Portland.
It's true. Very exciting. All right. Thanks, Pat. We'll see you back after this. Well, we've certainly had a lot of coverage on the American Folk Festival during the show, and as a fitting end, we'll get to hear some more live music. Thanks, everyone, for watching. We'll leave you tonight with a performance from the Fitzgeralds.